Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Tuesday, October the 28th, 2025. Still have the sore throat issue, y'all. This is not going to be a long recap, but you want to know what? I'm disappointed and I'm pissed off. Disappointingly pissed. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip and then I'll get into it. How's that? Let me go ahead. I mean, when, when when it happened, I said, no, come on now. Ah, okay, so here I go.
And lest ye forget, the house, your newfound fortune, none of it would be yours if it wasn't for me. Because, as we both know, Monica didn't write you into her will. I did. The fact is, if I hadn't forged Monica's will, you'd be stuck waiting on tables for the rest of your life. Because after all, the only thing your sister actually left you was a locket.
And if that had been the only thing that I inherited from Monica, I would have been perfectly satisfied.
Oh.
I don't need this house or the money.
I know. You made it perfectly clear the first time I pitched you my idea on the phone. I remember. You shot me down with extreme prejudice. Very noble.
Just selfish,
Hey,
condescending.
all right. So we're on common ground here. Hell, I remember the night you called me back. You were so pissed off you could barely spit the words out. And you know something? I don't blame you. Not one bit. Not then, not now. Because the simple fact is, all of this, the Quartermain thing makes Tracy a monster. She lives to hurt people, which is why you should feel totally justified in reaching out and taking something that she does not deserve.
Well, I agree with you if this were just about Tracy, but the rest of the family has been so kind and wonderful, and I hate deceiving them.
The family is going to be fine. It's not like they need the money.
Well, that's not the point. This house should not be mine.
And it's not going to be. For long, anyway, because you are going to sell to Drew Kane.
Oh.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Monica would never have wanted me to sell this house to anyone but Drew Kane. I am not going to sell this house out from under the family.
Ronnie, listen to me, okay? Each and every one of them could easily afford their own place. As a matter of fact, they'd probably be healthier.
No. Monica loved this house, and she loved the fact that her whole family was here with her. I am not going against her wishes.
You mean except for the part where you swipe it for yourself?
Yeah, well, that was your doing.
Okay, everybody. We all knew Martin did it. Ronnie was up in the air. Was she an accomplice? Was she, didn't know? Well, she knew Martin forged the will. And her argument on she really wasn't, well, I guess she had told him no, but she came down to pay her respects. And then when Tracy said what she said to her in at the crypt is when she decided, okay. Well, my thing is this. This is where it doesn't make sense. What if she still would have said no? Martin had this forged will. And what if Ronnie wasn't going to play along? What was going to happen then? That didn't make sense, right? And he's talking about Tracy, she don't deserve this. So guess what? Monica left the house to Tracy, the sister of her heart. She did. She left it to Tracy. And you know what? I'm okay with it being left to Tracy. But Ronnie telling Martin, wait a minute, you were at that party for a long time. How could I have been so stupid? You were the one who drugged me, and I blame Tracy. And he said, well, yeah, when I found out Tracy was at that party, I thought she might be softening towards you, and I couldn't have that. So I drugged you. I mean, just listen. I drugged you, not knowing what your medical conditions are, not knowing how your body would really react. I drugged you so you could accuse the wrong person because I hate her. Oh my goodness. For Martin, this has been the worst they've made Martin's character. The worst. He even blackmailed Ronnie. He says, up until now, my hands are completely clean. You're going to be the one going to jail for perpetrating fraud or for committing fraud. I thought Ronnie was more shrewd than that because she would have said, for one thing, I would have to have gotten the information on what my sister's attorney, who that was. Me, a waitress, could not have orchestrated this, Martin. So, no, I won't be going down for this. And I won't be selling, because see, I'm not selling this to Drew Kane. And I am so surprised that Martin is going this route because he says, no, that would be the ultimate in Tracy's face, is to know that Drew has it. And Martin and Ronnie says, what about the rest of the family? He's like, they could get their own places. Oh my goodness. He don't give a doggone. And why should he? He's not related to them. He thought nothing of trying to have the family crypt bulldozed down on Drew's orders. He is just whatever. I'm surprised he doesn't have it in writing that once she sells it, he's getting the majority of the whole lot of the proceeds, right? But everybody, when they played that scene, and maybe it's because I'm not feeling 100% today, that's just something I did not want to see because I do not want Cameron Matheson to get that house. And I'm sorry. You notice I didn't say Drew Kane? I don't want Cameron to get the house. See, because we're sitting up in the writer's room saying, hey, I got an idea. Listen, wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it just throw things up in the air? Why don't we write it so that Drew gets the Quartermain house and he throws everybody out? That's going to be good, everybody. No, that's not good. The legacy and the history of that Quartermain house had better not go to Drew. It shouldn't have gone to Ronnie, but it had better not go to somebody Monica disinherited. That is a slap and a spit in the face. I could see if Martin swindled her out of her ELQ stock, whatever. Because, see, that's what Tracy would have really cared about, too. Whatever. But to just write it so that Martin Gray was able to get a hold of a will and forward it. And my thing is, Alexis didn't have it authenticated. Come on, we're talking Martin's idiotic behind, right? Martin got drugs to drug some tea. What alternate universe are we living in? And he could care less. His sister's gonna kick him to the curb because it's going to come out. Unfortunately, we all have to suffer through this charade. We could tell Ronnie's heart is not in it. Now I'm going to go on to some of the other story. They had a little intervention. Olivia, Ned, Michael, but Michael was a little late, and I'll tell you why. They were talking to Tracy and letting her know she needs to apologize. Lozenge for my throat. She needs to apologize to Ronnie to get back in that house. And they're like, and we're going to go with you. So Ned got her to see the light. Ned's like, Mom, look, Mother, even though you don't mean it, even if you don't mean it, do it anyway. And Olivia's like, wait. No, that's not what I had in mind. She needs to really mean it. Ned looks at Olivia. Tracy looks at Ned and does her laugh, that laugh, laugh like she don't get it, right? So when Michael gets there and he's sitting down and he's like, okay, Tracy, I'm with him. You need to apologize to Ronnie, even though you don't mean it. And Olivia's like, you too? Right? And so Tracy's like, look, Ned has already convinced me, Michael. You don't have to convince me. He's like, yeah, okay. He says, we need you in that house, not to undermine Ronnie, but to watch her, Tracy. Right? So they go over to the house. Ronnie is crying, holding Monica's locket because she's probably already signed the papers and gave them to Martin. Because Tracy comes in and says, for the good of the family, I feel we should do a do-over. We should wipe the slate clean so we can all get along. Now, does that sound like an apology to you? It really didn't. But whatever, right? And I'm with Tracy. I wouldn't apologize for spiking her tea because I didn't do it. I'm not saying I did something I didn't do. I'm with Tracy on that. But anyway, Ronnie goes, I agree with you. I agree that we all need to start over. That's why I've decided to sell the house. And they all look at her. Michael looks at her. Olivia, Ned, Tracy's like, huh? So we're going to see the rest of that. Now, oh my God. The problem is we all know since Ronnie inherited the house through a will, it's going to be a probate. That takes months. But watch, they're not going to deal with probate here. Then watch, they're not going to deal with it. Ronnie's signature, Drew's going to have it in his hands the next day, and all of a sudden it's going to be a deed. Anyway, everybody, I can't even think straight. Cannot even think straight. Jordan finally tells Curtis, yes, that Portia's pregnant. And he's like, wait, what? No, that can't be. And he goes, Portia and I are barely on speaking terms. And we were only together. And Jordan looks at him, what, once? He goes, once. She goes, that's all it takes, Curtis. So anyway, he's like, he's got to find Portia to talk to her because he's wondering why didn't she tell him unless she's planning on doing the exact same thing she did 21 years ago. And Portia said, Curtis, she can't hide her pregnancy. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. He goes, unless she's not planning on having the baby. Oh, I got to get to Portia. Now, her and Isaiah made love in the cabin, but he called back to GH because one of his patients died, or not his patient, a patient at the hospital, and he's an organ donor. And they need Isaiah to go and harvest the organs. So he left. left Portia in the cabin. She calls Ava and says, "Where are you? Because I need to speak to you." So she's probably going to leave the cabin and go to the Metrocorp bar because she told her that's where she was. Um, and run whatever by Ava. Now, the other nonsense, oh, Portia does say, I mean, Jordan does say, well, I don't know for a fact that Jordan is pregnant. But when I asked her point blank, she absolutely did not deny it. She left irately, but she didn't deny it. So anyway, Jordan said, I'll wait to see what your outcome is going to be. And he's like, I'd hate to be unfair to you, but you're right. This does need to be resolved before we move any further. So now Jordan's like, oh, there he goes again. I don't even want to see him. So Curtis goes to the hospital. Isaiah's walking by the elevator and he goes, Dr. Gannon, I'm looking for my wife. Do you know where she's at? And Isaiah's just looking at him. Carly is talking to Jason. Jason's asking her, why are you avoiding me? What are you up to? She goes, I'm not avoiding you. She goes, yeah, you are. You haven't returned any of my messages. She goes, well, I've been busy, Jason. He goes, Carly, you're up to something. And so he goes, but what you haven't done is you didn't tell Jocelyn, And she goes, well, no, I didn't because I didn't want to alienate her, like you said. I mean, I didn't want to put her in any jeopardy. She says, well, look, Jason, there's nothing else really going on. I'm meeting Jack. And he goes, okay. So now that you know what Jack Brennan has done, you're still meeting him? You're still with the guy? She goes, I have to be with him right now. Because right now, he is in control of my daughter's safety. So I have to. I'm not going to alienate Jack so that, now Jocelyn is not his priority. Because whether I like it or not, he cares for me. So yeah, I'm still with him for now. But no, I can't stand it. And Jason just shakes his head. She goes, Carly, this is not. He goes, Jason, I'm going to do what I have to do. So Jack comes up and Jason looks at Jack. He goes, Jack says, hi, you two. Jason just looks at him. And he goes, oh, Mr. Morgan, I didn't know you were joining us for dinner. And Jason looks at Jack like, why the heck would I be joining you two for dinner? Carly says, oh, he's not. And Jason just turns and he walks away without saying a word. And then he was talking about, she said, Charlotte really enjoyed her visit with her father. And Jack says, oh, that's good. She says, but that's probably her last visit. And Jack said, why is that? She said, because Switzerland is too far to be going back and forth with. Lulu feels it's going to interrupt Charlotte's life way too much. That was the only visit she's going to allow. And Jack's like, oh, well, that's not good to hear. She goes, what, you didn't get everything you needed from Valentine? He said, no. Valentine knows more. And she goes, well, Lulu's not going to go for the travel. And then she goes, well, aren't there any other WSB containment facilities in the US? Aren't there any in the US? And he goes, yeah. She says, well, the simple thing is transfer Valentine closer to home. And Jack just looked at her like, that could work. Because guess what? Where was Jack Brennan sentenced to? Pittenville. Watch Valentine be sentenced to Pittenville, even though Pittenville is not a WSB facility, but the WSB uses it, right? So good. This is going to get Valentine back on the canvas for a while. And we'll see how Charlotte reacts to that. Lulu's going to hate it. Oh, Lulu's going to go crazy. But guess what? Lulu can't control that situation. Then we have Anna goes to Jack. No, Jack comes to Anna and says, I'm here to deliver this message to you because I know you waiting to hear. You put in a request to go visit Valentine? Request denied. She says, why would you deny that request? He said, because I don't need you getting in the way. I know you can't be objective where Valentine is concerned. And she goes, you have some nerve. Seeing as how involved you are with Carly. He says, yeah, but guess what? You let Valentine get away. You cannot be trusted where he is concerned. This is having everything to do with Faison. I can help you. I can help you. I know more. No, she goes, you know a lot about Faison, but I, have personal experience with him. And he just looked at her and he goes, no, I'm not going to let you see him. Mm-mm. So now Jason comes to see Anna and she goes, I thought you weren't speaking to me. He says, I wasn't because I'm still upset at the way you used me. I thought our friendship meant more than you using me like that. She goes, yeah, you're right. But Jack had me under, whatever. So she goes, well, what do you want? He goes, I want to get Jocelyn out of the WSB. I want to extract it. Anna says, it doesn't work that way, Jason. Jocelyn is an adult. She has to want to leave. She has to initiate leaving the WSB. It's not an operation where you could just go in and take her out. And so he goes, but this case that Jack is working with, she goes, yeah, it's with the whole five poppy thing. He says, that's dangerous. She would have been killed had I not rescued her. Anna says, yes, it is very dangerous. And I learned one other bit of news. Cesar Faison, his operation is involved. And Jason looked. So he says, well, how can I protect Jocelyn? He says, well, she needs to be reassigned from under Jack Brennan because Jack Brennan is known for taking very difficult, high risk cases. There are definitely other, you know, offices or departments that don't. She needs to be transferred to one less hazardous. He says, okay, well, we got to make that happen. How do we make it happen? He goes, first, she says, well, no, first, we are going to have to make some headway on this case that Jack is working now because it is high priority. So if we could get her through this in one piece, then we have a better opportunity to, try to get her reassigned. So whatever. So now look, Jason's going to be involved working on this watch. Um, that's it, everybody. Nothing else really. Oh, I don't like this. I really don't know where Michael's going with this. Michael took Jacinda down to Crimson and told Nina she's hiring her. And Nina's like, nope, nope, not doing it. I'm not hiring. She is a call girl, for God's sake. And he goes, Nina, you were just arrested for conspiracy to commit murder. Now, yes, the charges were dropped, but while you were arrested, Aurora didn't take action against you. So I expect you, he goes, and you pleaded guilty for providing a false alibi. I expect you to pay that forward. At first, she says, over my dead body. And Ava was there. And Michael looked at her and said, well, that could be arranged. Nina looked at Ava and says, no, no, you know what? Wait. Uh, uh, Nina, you were telling me how swamped you are, how much you definitely need an assistant. right? And so, right, right. And Nina looks, she goes, yes, fine. Okay, I'll hire her. And he goes, you're paying her to give you an alibi. He goes, nope, that's not the case. He says, now I'm gonna leave you two. Ava, he goes, Ava, why don't you and I leave them two to talk? So that's when Ava goes down to the bar and Portia calls her. So Nina, of course, is being strong armed to Jacinda. Jacinda's taking notes, right? And Jacinda said, oh, I forgot to ask Michael, does this job have dental? And Nina just looked at her seethingly, right? So then she goes, how much is Michael paying you to lie for him and give him a false alibi? And Jacinda looked at Nina and said, Michael isn't paying me. Michael and I did spend the night together that night. And as a matter of fact, ever since then, we have become very close. And Nina looks at her, yeah, you good. You're real good. But you know what? I know Michael's offering you a lot of money. And she reaches over to her checkbook. She goes, but I'm a very wealthy woman myself. I can double whatever he's offering you. And she has her checkbook with her pen looking up at Jacinda, and the camera's looking at Jacinda's face like, ooh, but that's not really the look she's giving, right? Watch, tomorrow she's going to say, Nina, I told you, Michael and I are getting close. I don't need your money. I just need a good job. Jacinda is not, even though Jacinda is in it for the money, but she would never just take Nina's money over Michael's money. Because like Michael said, then you won't have an alibi, right? So anyway, but I just would never have had Jacinda work for Willow's mother, work for Nina. We know how messy Nina is and how Nina loves to look for little things to turn the knife in at Michael. I never would have done that, Michael. I would have more asked Carly to give her a job in the executive offices. Or Aurora has enough well, yeah, Aurora has enough divisions. Jacinda could have worked for Curtis. I never would have had her work for Nina. But anyway, Michael doesn't do anything without it being a plan. So we're going to have to see what that plan is going to be. But this is Tuesday, everybody. And I have a feeling I'm not going to be very happy with the rest of this week. So, any anyhow, I'll be back tomorrow with another daily recap of General Hospital.